You've said this morning that you're delighted to have concluded the sale of Liverpool to New England Sports Ventures, but in reality you haven't concluded this deal at all. How much of a delay might there be before Liverpool genuinely does have new owners?
Yeah, you're right, we've agreed a sale, but it's subject to a number of things like the Premier League approval and normal things, but the specific one is effectively a declaratory judgment from the court that we've entered into it on a valid basis. That's likely to take about a week, I would think. I would hope we'd get a judgment by the end of next week.
And the legal challenge that the existing owners have indicated they will pursue to block this deal, can you tell us about the process that will involve and why you think you've got such a strong case against that challenge?
Well, first of all, I think it's a great pity that they've done this. I mean, this was, frankly, their last chance to leave Liverpool with their heads high. And it's a pity they've chosen to go this route. Yeah, it's a difficult issue. I don't want to get into the detail, but part of the terms of me taking on the role, and I was appointed by Tom and George, was that they gave a written undertaking that only I could change the board, and they wrote that into the articles of the two companies. And this is COP Football and COP Holdings, the two holdings companies. They also gave a written undertaking. Both of these undertakings were to RBS, but they gave a written undertaking that they would not interfere and frustrate any reasonable sale. And this is frankly a flagrant abuse of those two written undertakings.
Now, you've had many false starts during the period that you've been chairman, around about 6 months. You've had bidders from China and Kuwait and India and America all come and go. What is it that's persuaded you that this is the most appropriate new owner for this football club?
Well, first of all, a lot of the false starts were not actually bidders. They were potential bidders, or in some cases, I think, mirages. These two bidders are the two bidders who, at the end of an exhaustive process, and you have to be living on planet Zog not to know it's for sale, and we've contacted hundreds of different people, and some have contacted us directly. At the end of that process, we had two valid bids, both from excellent prospective owners on the table, competing with each other, which I think demonstrates exactly what the market price is.
And how much is that market price? What has New England Sport Ventures agreed to pay?
300 million, effectively. 200 million in writing down all of the acquisition debt, taking on some of the additional working capital debts, etc., and other liabilities. So it's 300 million altogether.
Now, there have also been a very significant amount of bank fees accumulated over the course of the current owners' ownership of Liverpool, tens of millions of pounds. What is going to happen to the fees that have not yet been paid? Will the new owners be liable for those bank fees?
That is a matter that is confidential between RBS and their owners.
In terms of the assurances that the new owner has given you to persuade you that they are a fit and proper owner of Liverpool Football Club, can you explain in detail exactly what New England Sports Ventures has pledged to do in terms of investment in the new stadium and also on the playing side of the club?
Well, I think quite rightly they don't want any hostages to fortune. They've seen those in the past. I think they want to be judged by what they do rather than what they say, and can demonstrate what they plan to do by what they've done. And I think if you look at the Boston Red Sox as a classic example of taking a very famous, traditionally historic, major team which has seen better days and restored them to their glory, I think is a parallel which demonstrates action. Their mentality is all about winning, all about winning. They have invested a lot of money in players there. They have committed to making the necessary investment in players at Liverpool. At Fenway, they actually chose not to build a new stadium, although everyone said that was what you needed. They looked at that option. They then looked at the option of restoring and renovating Fenway, which they did to the tune of 200 and more million, very effectively. One of their members built a new stadium at Baltimore. So they built stadiums and they've restored stadiums. They want to make sure on the stadium they're going to do the right thing. They haven't committed yet to which is the right thing. We will have a stadium of more than 60,000. Where it'll be, whether it's the new stadium as designed or not, that's not a commitment. Will we have stadium development? Yes.
And over what timetable has the new owner committed to delivering a new stadium for Liverpool fans?
A short timetable.
A couple of years?
No specific, no hostages to fortune. They're here to look at the club, to understand the club. They will get close to the supporters, to the players, to the council. They'll listen to lots of people, and they will take the appropriate action just as they have in Boston. Will we get a new stadium? We will get substantial stadium development, yes.
Is it conceivable that that may focus on a redevelopment of the existing stadium?
It's conceivable, yes.
In terms of your own future, now you were brought in by the current owners, soon to be the previous owners, to handle a sale of the club. Will you be staying on to supervise the transition to the new ownership? And then what about after that?
Well, first of all, I've got to complete the process of the ownership. Yeah, I'm available to complete the transition process. But as you say, my role was to come in, find the right buyers, and hand over to the right buyers. And that's what I've seen my role as.
And in terms of what you describe as the necessary investment in players, Liverpool have had the worst start to a season in the top flight of English football for more than half a century. Do you believe that with the new owners in place there will be substantial new investment in players by the time the next transfer window opens?
Yeah, I think there'll be money available in the next transfer window, but I think there's been a huge amount of negativity around Liverpool. This uncertainty, the fans sort of demonstrating against the owners. There's a negative atmosphere. You can frankly see in one or two of the players that look like they're playing with the world on their shoulders. I think, yes, there will be money available for investment in the squad, but I think we've now got a positive impetus for the fans to get behind, for the manager to get behind, for the players to get behind and understand there is a bright new future, and let's all commit together.
And what else can you say to Liverpool fans who are weary of hearing promises delivered by new owners about potential new bidders, and they now have the concern potentially that their loathed American owners are just being replaced by another set of American owners? What can you say to reassure them today?
First of all, there's nothing wrong with being American. Right? Ask Sunderland. Ellis Short there, he's a great owner. So there's nothing wrong with being American. Leverage is a problem in a football club, whoever it comes from, and wherever you are, you've got to have the right people. These are the right people. I think my message is keep the faith. We said we would give you the best owners. I honestly believe we have delivered the best owners. I understand their frustrations right the way through the process. Everybody, a fan wants to know what's going on. I've always believed the best way of delivering the best owners was it privately and concluding a deal and then delivering it, and not through the public gaze. So I apologise for not giving a running commentary, but I said I wouldn't give a running commentary, and I think it was the right thing. But I say to fans, keep the faith.
Now you, at your board meeting yesterday, discussed two equally credible offers. The other was from a bidder in the Far East. Are you prepared to shed any light on the identity of that bidder?
No, I don't think that would be very appropriate.
Okay. Martin Broughton, thank you very much.